it's not really kind of interview. We are trying to just make some conversation. So
Okay.
yeah, please stay comfortable. Thanks, Professor. Yeah.
Try. You say when you start. Cut the beginning. Hello, my name is Jürgen Kurths. I'm from Germany, from the Berlin area. I'm professor at the Humboldt University in Berlin and also chair of a research domain at the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research. Complex systems are really the main kind of description of our daily life, of social behavior, of nature, also of the interaction. To give a few examples, this is social behavior, how people behave in a group, in some club also. If clubs are merging, how opinion is formed there. Or in a classroom of students, or if several classrooms are merging, how opinions about some special topics become formed. This is a typical example of a complex system, but one can also go ahead, more general, say the traffic is also such an example. The air traffic. You have many airports and you have a lot of flights going from one to the other, and the question is then, if some airport has some problem, what happens then? Will there be a cascading effect for the worldwide network of airlines, or is this only more a local effect? Mm-hmm. And the question is then how to maintain stability. And even in case of such perturbations, how to come back to the normal regime. And this is the same in power grids, in some sense. Mm-hmm. Here the nodes are the generators, which generate power, and the consumers. And you have two mainly different types, and you always have some perturbations because people do not take all the time the same amount of electricity. Mm-hmm. During the day more than during the night, in the evening more than at noon or so. And but this has to be compensated, and the network of the power grid network has to work all the time. We would like to have here in Korea 60 Hertz stable behavior, in Europe 50 Hertz stable behavior, otherwise it would break down. Mm-hmm. And then the question is, how can we realize this? Mm-hmm. And the problem of high actuality is that we have to include more and more renewable energies. Mm-hmm. So here you take more solar sources. Yes. In Germany we take solar as well as wind is an important component. But they are much more natural. The wind comes when the wind likes to come, not when we would like to have him to generate electric power. And then we have to compensate this. Yeah. And this is a much more challenging problem. And this we call also a complex network with all these nodes and all these interactions and also all these influences from outside. And it's also similar, if you wish, with the climate. If you have a strong storm, you call it a typhoon, I think, coming from the Pacific, fortunately the strongest part will be in Japan. But some part will also come here. And then to estimate how strong will it be and from which other factors does it depend. And as a consequence of typhoon, can be very strong rainfall. And you would like to have a good forecast and rather early to have to make some mitigation procedures. And one also has to, as you see, there are short-range interactions, Japan, Korea, but then you have long-range interactions. We have now climate change, and therefore these large jet streams in about 10, 20 kilometers height in the atmosphere are changing their structure. They are becoming more wrinkled, not so clear as what before. And then in the northern hemisphere, in the very northern hemisphere, you have the situation that the jet streams get a form that the strong winter remains in the United States and cannot come to Europe. Therefore, you have very strong snowfall in Alaska and in the north of the United States and no snow in Europe. And this one can also understand about the connectivity and changing connectivity. And this is also a complex system. This is one of our tasks, and to try to make it useful for a better improved forecasts.
Oh, Professor, thanks for explaining, I think. And actually, we were trying to ask further questions related to the carbon neutrality, but you already explained so detailed, and so now we are trying to do with some now easy and simple one again. So
I was becoming familiar with KENTECH. The offer came from the university whether I could take part a bit here in this university, and I really enjoyed this because this is the first time, I think, at all on Earth to create such a university focused on energy problems. And energy problems, as I mentioned before, are one of the most important challenges these days. It's also important that you have environment included, but also important that you have engineering, that is clear, but also more theory. It means mathematics, physics, complex systems theory. And therefore you need this interaction, this really an interdisciplinary approach, that you will not have this classic university scheme, no departments, really flat structures that people can interact easily. And this I like very much.
Do you have any advice or things to say for the graduate students who newly start their research and degree courses like us?
As I mentioned before, this is really a special chance to be part of such evolving new university. I also, what I enjoyed a lot was this kind of new teaching you have, which is more collective discussions than that one guy is sitting there and reads his book or something. And this is really an active learning. You should really use this chance. But also, very important, do not forget to have some spare time, to make some sport, to read a book, to look a movie, not always study 25 hours a day. This is terrible. You should find a good mixture, then you come also to new ideas, you have to relax a bit, and then you come very optimistic back to the study.
wow, that is really practical advice, Professor.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Very good.